Chapter 8. The powers of seership. And the things are called interpreters, and no man can look in them except he be commanded, lest he should look for that he ought not, and he should perish. And whosoever is commanded to look in them, the same is called a seer. Messiah 8:13. The ability to see by means of a stone is a great gift, the greatest, but the use of a stone is not always necessary. The stone is a means or aid in helping or strengthening the gift and ability of the seer. As a man uses this gift, he will develop that power and ability without the use of a stone or any other instrument. Joseph received several revelations to which I was witness by means of the seer stone, but he could receive also without any instrument. Orson Pratt, Mill. Star 4049. One of the earliest instances of Joseph's seership was recorded before the organization of the church. When I arrived at Harmony, June 1829, Joseph and Oliver were coming towards me and met me some distance from the house. Oliver told me that Joseph had informed him when I started from home, where I stopped the first night, etc., and that I would be there that day before dinner, all of which I was greatly astonished. David Whitmer to Orson Pratt, Mill. Star 4049. Again 2 years later another instance occurred. Brother Whitney had not had his foot moved from the bed for nearly 4 weeks, when I went into his room, after a walk in the grove, and told him if he would agree to start for home in the morning, we would take a wagon to the river, about 4 miles, and there would be a ferry boat in waiting which would take us quickly across. Where we would find a hack which would take us directly to the landing, where we should find a boat, in waiting, and we would be going up the river before 10 o'clock, and have a prosperous journey home. He took courage and told me he would go. We started next morning, and found everything as I had told him. J. Smith, DHC, 1272. Whether Joseph used the seer stone on these occasions is not known, but the examples of his seership ability without using a stone are numerous, one of which was in the last year of his life. Joseph remarked, "There is no mercy here, no mercy here." Hiram said, "And no, just as sure as we fall into their hands we are dead men." Joseph replied, "Yes, what shall we do, brother Hiram?" He replied, "I don't know." All at once Joseph's countenance brightened up and he said, "Way is open, it is clear to my mind what to do. All they want is Hiram and myself, then tell everybody to go about their business, and not to collect in groups, but to scatter about. There is no doubt they will come here and search for us. Let them search, they will not harm you in person or property, and not even a hair of your head." TPJS, page 376. On another occasion, while Joseph and others lay in the Carthage jail. And when all were apparently fast asleep, Joseph whispered to Dan Jones, "You afraid to die?" Dan said, "Has that time come, think you? Engaged in such a cause I do not think that death would have many terrors." Joseph replied, "You will yet see Wales, and fulfill the mission appointed to you before you die." DHC, 6601. This mission was fulfilled just as Joseph declared, see Mill. Starvol. 1138-42, showing the great and marvelous gift of seership that the prophet Joseph Smith possessed to the very day of his death. As the powers of seership are developed within a man, he becomes illuminated by the Spirit of God, and can see into the past or future. Jesus was the most perfect example of this gift, as he was in all spiritual things. Examples of his seership ability are indicated in the following passages. Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him, and saith of him, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile." Nathanael saith unto him, "Whence, knowest thou me?" Jesus answered and said unto him, "That Philip called thee, when thou wast under the fig tree, I saw thee. Because I said unto thee, I saw thee under the fig tree, believest thou? Thou shalt see greater things than these." John 1:47-50. And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem, and were come to Bethphage, unto the Mount of Olives, then sent Jesus 2 disciples, saying unto them, "Go into the village over against you, and straightway ye shall find an ass tied, and a colt with her, loose them, and bring them unto me. And if any man say aught unto you, ye shall say, The Lord hath need of them, and straightway he will send them." Matt. 21:1-2. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, "Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The Master saith, My time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples." And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Matt. 26:17-19. Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest, behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going, behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. Matt. 26:45. And Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night, and taken nothing, nevertheless at thy word I will let down the net. And when they had this done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. Luke 5:5-6. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast an hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money, that give unto them for me and thee. Matt. 17:27. However, the devil often used the same agencies that the Lord uses. At the same time that God's work is rolling forth, the devil is there to compete against it. Many of these opposing forces were used against the sacred work assigned to the prophet Joseph. Satan used the same type of agencies which the Lord was using. I never heard such oaths fall from the lips of any man as I heard uttered by a man who was called a fortune teller, and who knew where those plates were hid. He went 3 times in one summer to get them. The same summer in which Joseph did get them. Baptist, Presbyterian, and Methodist priests and deacons sent for him to tell where those plates were, and to get them out of the hill where they were deposited, and he had not returned to his home from the last trip he made for them, more than a week or 10 days before Joseph got them. Joseph was what we call an ignorant boy, but this fortune teller, whose name I do not remember, was a man of profound learning. He had put himself in possession of all the learning in the States, had been to France, Germany, Italy, and through the world, had been educated for a priest, and turned out to be a devil. He could preach as well as the best of them, and I never heard a man swear as he did. He could tell that those plates were there, and that they were treasure whose value to the people could not be told, for that I myself heard him say. Brigham Young, J.D. 555. The powers of God and the powers of Satan are very similar in appearance and function. If people are not wise and filled with the Spirit of the Lord, they can be deceived. A person may see the power of the devil displayed, and mistake it for the power of God, for without the light of the Spirit, one cannot tell the difference between the power of the Lord and the power of the devil. Brigham Young, J.D. 3 155. With whatever agency and means the Lord uses to communicate with man, the devil duplicates and imitates the same methods. Not only does the Prince of Darkness use similar means to advance his own work, but he also uses them to oppose or duplicate the work of God. One such occurrence happened while the prophet Joseph was alive. James Collins Brewster, the person mentioned by the prophet in the text, was a boy about 16 years of age, having been born as nearly as may be ascertained, in the year 1827. He claims several years previous to this time to have had revelations while in Kurland, by which he translated the so-called Book of Esdras, which in some way, not altogether clear, was interpreted to be a guide for the latter-day saints. The prophet Joseph said. John Darby came in and said he was going to California with Brewster. I told him I would say, as the prophet said to Hezekiah, "Go, and prosper, but ye shall not return in peace." Brewster may set out for California, but he will not get there unless somebody shall pick him up by the way, feed him and help him along. Brewster showed me the manuscript he had been writing. I inquired of the Lord, and the Lord told me the book was not true, it was not of him. If God ever called me, or spake by my mouth, or gave me a revelation, he never gave revelations to that Brewster boy or any of the Brewster race. He succeeded in converting his parents and a small number of people to the genuineness of his prophetic powers and gift of translation, and was now contemplating a removal of those who believed in him to California. After the death of the prophet, in connection with one Hazen Aldrich, he succeeded in holding together a following for a few years, but in the end the Brewster-Aldrich movement was a flat. Once Joseph was warned to go quickly and remove the gold plates from their hiding place, which was underneath the floor in his shop. Joseph went to the cooper's shop and transferred them to the house. After completing his mission of relocating them, he saw a mob scurrying past the house and into his shop. Soon afterwards, they left and Joseph went out to the shop. We found the floor of the cooper's shop torn up, and the box which was laid under it, shivered in pieces. In a few days afterwards, we learned the cause of this last move, why their curiosity led them in the direction of the cooper's shop. A young woman by the name of Chase, sister to Willard Chase, found a green glass through which she could see many very wonderful things, and among her great discoveries, she said that she saw the precise place where J.O.E. Smith kept his gold Bible hid, and obedient to her directions, the mob gathered their forces and laid siege to the cooper's shop. History of Joseph Smith, page 113. God's purpose of dispensing knowledge through seer stones is to reveal new light and intelligence to man. John Kelson beautifully explains this effect as it emanates from God. No one who receives true revelation can fail to distinguish the genuine from the counterfeit. The light reveals its own source, as a ray from the sun leads up to his fountain. The voice is spirit, and the word is intelligence. There is the certainty of self-knowledge in true revelation. It is a light to the feet, a lamp to the path, and positive assurance to the soul. Its tendency is to elevate and refine. Under its benign influence, individuals will become pure and godlike, and peoples will be exalted to the highest plane of grand and enlightened civilization. It will light up the pathway to a new and glorious civilization. It will drive back into their dark caverns the fiends of discord, tyranny, ignorance, and despair. Man will no longer be a bewildering enigma to himself, for the Son of Revelation will dispel the gloom which envelops the past and the present. The hidden secrets of nature will be explored, and the realms of the mighty dead will be as light as day. The earth will open her bosom and reveal treasures and riches, which have never been profaned by the eye of sordid greed, and man will realize that life is pleasure, and to live is joy. Mill. Star 48 117. Every man who bears the priesthood holds the keys of communication with and for God. It is for this purpose that men are placed on the earth. Because a man is a seer, it does not mean that he must be the president of the church. A man can be a seer and hold any office in the church. Perhaps it may make some of you stumble were I to ask you a question: does a man being a prophet in this church prove that he shall be president of it? I answer no. A man may be a prophet, seer, and revelator, and it may have nothing to do with his being president of the church. Brigham Young, J.D. 133. Men should earnestly desire the gifts which would be the most advantageous to the Lord. If we know and do the will of the Lord, He has promised to add to the talents and powers He has already bestowed upon us.